Hello, one and all, and welcome back once again to the TOI Sports YouTube channel. And this is Beyond the Boundary. And every day we try and pick up a particular topic from Indian cricket and try and discuss it, try to speculate, try to talk about it, try to analyze, and a lot more. Today, of course, we're going to talk about, in the end, about the Champions Trophy selection because, news is that tomorrow probably we'll be announcing, or the BCCI will be announcing the Indian squad for the CT. But the fact remains here that today the crux of the matter is discussing the terms and conditions and the new policies that the BCCI has come up with. They are very, very interesting. And to talk about it, let's welcome my partners in crime, as I call them. Today we have with us Dwapayan Datta, Chandresh Narayanan, and Saurav Somani, joining from different parts of the globe. And today we are going to discuss something very, very relevant and very, very important. Gentlemen, before we go into the details of what has come up, let me quickly read out to you the highlights of these aspects. New policies for Indian men's team, to be more precise. And the Board of Cricket Control has come up certain strict guidelines to enforce discipline, unity, professionalism amongst the Indian cricketers following the recent failures in Australia. And measures include mandatory domestic matches, participation, travel guidelines, baggage limits. Can you believe that? I thought cricketers normally carry a set of suitcase for the clothes and the kit. Now, what extra baggage? We'll also discuss today. Restriction on personal staff and commitment to official duties. And if someone is not adhering to this, there are strict penalties like deduction of payment or and IPL में खेलना नहीं खेलना इस पर काफी सारी बातें होंगी. So, gentlemen, welcome. Now, this is a 10-point diktat. Vaipan, I'd like to start with you. You have been following these things over the years. Have you? And I'll ask all our guests today. When was the last time when BCCI came up with such kind of baggage limits and all those kind of things, diktats? Do you remember any instance in the last maybe decade or 2 decades?
Baggage limit, etc. I don't remember, but this about playing domestic cricket, etc. I think that in 2007 there was one diktat when Niranjan Shah was the secretary that players have to take part in domestic cricket to be eligible for selection, etc., etc., etc. So
Correct.
That was there. That happened some time back, which kept getting flouted and flouted and flouted over the years, and now we have come to this. But this is kind of unprecedented. All these things were going on in the media for some time, but the way it has come out and some of the points that have been thrown in seem ridiculous to me. Like what where this chef carrying a personal
Yeah.
chef, what is the problem? Like I have traveled during the World Cup semi-final, T20 World Cup semi-final. I remember traveling with the team, and I was just sitting beside Surya Kumar Yadav, and Surya, Hardik Pandya, and Rishabh Pant. These three guys carry their chefs. So he was getting his dabbas. He likes his own food. So etc. These, like, just because Gautam Gambhir has been asked not to carry his personal assistant,
Chef.
he made sure that the players do not have their personal chefs. Like I think this entire module that BCCI has come up with is a battle of one-upmanship between the coach and the players. The domestic cricket part is fine. You need to play an amount of domestic cricket, but I am quite certain that the super seniors will not play. They will find reasons not to play, but and nothing will happen. But the point of the matter is most of these points are. I find it absolutely ridiculous because for these reasons we did not. It's not that we lost the Australia series and the New Zealand series at home because of these reasons. There was no
Correct.
need for all these things.
Yes, Chandresh, I know you and Saurav also have some important points, but because Dwapayan has said that he finds these kind of diktats very interesting, ridiculous to be more precise. Friends who have joined us, tell us what do you think about it? What do you think about the BCCI's decision to implement these terms and conditions and policies? Please tell us your real name and where are you joining us from, and also do comment. Yes, Chandresh, when was the last time you and Saurav and Dwapayan carried extra baggage and you also were able to carry your extra chef along with you?
Extra chef, no. I traveled with my wife, but I carried extra baggage recently when I went to Australia.
Hmm.
We sort of messed up on our return. But having said that, uh, I think Indian players can solve the problem on the England tour, for example. You'll have the India A team once. So you can send, because these rules don't apply to the India A team. So you can send some of
Okay.
the stuff with Abhimanyu Ishwaran and Baba Indrajit and the other players who are India A regulars. Then the India women's team also travel in the month of June only. So you can send some stuff with the India women's team support staff and the players. So you can circumvent the these rules that have come in. So that's my suggestion to the prospective India Test players who will be fit after the IPL to go and play
Right.
the is in England. But I think that we are missing the woods for the trees over here. I think these set of things that have come out yesterday are just some of the issues that have been flagged at the review meeting. There are other issues, cricketing issues, which have not been addressed in this, which will be
Hmm.
addressed. We'll come to know about it when teams are selected, when players are on the field, and so on and so forth. Those cricketing matters have not been like spelt out in letter and spirit or in black and white. What
Correct.
what these rules have done is that on the recent Australia tour, there were a few players who were allowed to travel separately on chartered flights,
Right.
and they were traveling on their own. They were traveling not in India travel kit because they were on their own chartered flight. That should not have been allowed. There were players who were going to the training sessions in their own cabs, in their own cars. And this particular trend started in 2018 when India was in England. At that time, within
Okay.
England, they were traveling in black cabs in London, tube train, their own friends' cars. They were doing all that when they were traveling. That is the thing, because and when there are certain players who have been known to just leave the training session and go back to the hotel and leave the training just midway, and they were being allowed because they had the allowance from the board at the highest level, and also from the team management, the previous two team managements, without taking names. So this is the sort of indiscipline that has crept in, which someone like a Gautam Gambhir has spotted. I am not saying this is the reason why India lost the Test series in Australia.
Right.
They were cricketing reason, but I think these rules were needed to be spelt out because there were certain players who were traveling with some 15 suitcases, which may be right or wrong, which again I think needed to be curbed because these are all symptoms of indiscipline in my view.
Right.
And also, I have no problem with players having their own staff traveling to the venues where the matches are being played. But most of these personal staff members were also staying in the team hotel. So if you're a logistics
Oh,
manager, you are spending half the time trying to ensure that the 70-80 people who are traveling with the team have all the same facilities that the players have. So
correct.
this is the reason they want to sort of put a system in place. You can't have a situation where the players are running riot, and this is an attempt to end the superstar culture. But again, I stress, this is not the reason why India lost the
Correct.
Test series. The
Correct.
cricketing reasons would definitely have been discussed. They have not come out because that will be in a separate league. This is a separate league, that will be a separate league. And
Correct.
the very fact that the meeting details are also leaked, and this document was also leaked last night, is also something that the BCCI will probe, but nothing will come of it because we have all seen yes minister and yes prime minister. So,
Absolutely.
so this is the crux of the matter. There was complete indiscipline, and this has been going on for 6 years. You cannot have
Exactly.
this, and the same thing will happen. And like Dwepan said, the super seniors will find an excuse to not play domestic cricket. Since 2005, I've been hearing about how important should be given to domestic cricket, how you should play
Correct.
domestic cricket whenever you get time, go to domestic cricket. In 1985, Gavaskar did this. In 1982, Gavaskar did this. In 1974, Dilip Vengsarkar did that. This is all something that we'll keep telling for the next 40 years. Nothing is going to happen. The
But
seniors, we are already hearing that Virat Kohli has a neck sprain and may not play in the Ranji Trophy match. So the first test of these new rules will be on 23rd of January. when we'll see that some of these seniors will not play the Ranji Trophy game.
Correct. And Dwapan also mentioned, there will be a circumvent, they'll find a way to do that. But Chandresh, I mean, you mentioned some really very valid and very interesting points that it is not something happening all of a sudden. I mean, sort of, there cannot be smoke without fire. I mean, some things have been happening now from a practicality purpose. Yes, domestic cricket is important, but look at the last decade, the volume, the quantum of cricket, international, domestic, plus the IPL kind of things which has happened, plus so much of support staff is now coming up because everything is now so very scientific. We want to give everything the additional touch so that the performance goes that one point ahead. Now, with the support staff, you need them. With so much of cricket happening, are you saying that is it practical enough to ask each and every international Indian men's cricketer to go back and play red ball cricket?
Pankaj, before Saurabh comes in, I just want to say one point. One more thing that I want to say. When you talk about indiscipline starts from the time we are playing at age group level where everybody wears different jerseys and plays.
That's a very interesting observation.
And also, when you see, and I pointed this out to somebody in the BCCI, that at the World Test Championship final training session, one Indian player has RCB, the other Indian player has Mumbai Indians coffin,
Correct.
The other Indian player, but the Australian team for the World Test Championship final had everyone at the Cricket Australia coffin. And this is something that Rahul Dravid wanted to do back in 2007. It became a big thing that BCCI is coming up with their own kit bag coffin for the Indian players, because Rahul has played in county cricket, so he knows how things are done. Sorry, carry on, Saurabh.
Yeah, Saurabh. I mean, is it practical now? I mean, a lot of points have been raised by Chandresh and Dwapan.
Yeah, no, I mean, that last point was very interesting, actually. I didn't know that, what Chandresh raised. But going back to them playing domestic cricket, the thing is, I feel BCCI have a lot of mixed messaging. Abhi, if you are saying domestic cricket is important, then you have to give it that importance. No, you have to not treat the IPL as the be all end all of it. Now, we'll for example, let's to take whatever, the biggest possible name, let's say Virat Kohli. If for any reason, now he has a neck sprain, but let's say he didn't have the neck sprain, he doesn't play a domestic match, will the BCCI actually stop him from playing IPL matches? It will hurt them, commercially, if he doesn't play. Are they willing to do that? I don't think anyone in the BCCI has shown any aptitude to actually do this. It's all very good to say, domestic cricket is very important and then this and that. You put your money where your mouth is. Don't just say stuff and that sounds good on paper and say that no, domestic cricket is sabko khelna chahiye. ठीक है, खेलना चाहिए, but now if खेलना चाहिए and if workload management is important,
exactly,
will you compensate a Kohli for not playing IPL? If will you compensate a Bumrah if you don't want him to play IPL and want him to only play let's say the final stages of CT and then the England series? You should have some system in place to do that, right? Like not just compensate Bumrah, compensate the franchisee also. They have also invested in that. So because now franchise is also a stakeholder. BCCI has made its bed and it has to lie in it. So you have to get all this very clear from the top. Like this has never been clear from the time when the treasurer of the BCCI was allowed to buy a team in the IPL. This has never been clear. So it's always been a lot of lip service. So if you want to really do things, you can. But do them from the top, do them systematically, do them properly, and then you see, whether it has any effect or not. Like ये सब तो लिखने में अच्छा है, leak करने में अच्छा है, like yeah, and honestly, like it's very easy. Like again, like Chandresh pointed out somebody abusing the baggage policy by taking 15. It's very easy to just quietly say that look, we'll pay for this. We'll pay for these many rooms in the team hotel. The logistics manager will be responsible for these many people. Baaki sab ko aana hai. Like now Virat Kohli, somebody says, or Surya's chef, Pant's chef, whoever, somebody's master says that, or somebody says that they want them there. They should make their arrangements. It's a free country, right? Nobody I'll just go back to a slight diversion. There was
Yeah,
Huh,
I
but
think
So in the
they
I think what
actually do
Saurabh,
2013-14
that.
Saurabh, yeah,
Ashes.
Saurabh, just a minute. I think this is a very
Huh.
important point that you have raised, and I think Dwapan and Chandresh need to come in. Dwapan and Chandresh, starting with Dwapan, in the sense, who bells the cat? In the sense, is it a problem that BCCI is supposed to pay for all these charges, or is it the player to make their own arrangements and come back?
No,
Dwapan.
see the chef etc. These things, they do not even stay in the team hotel. They stay in
Huh.
B&Bs, and not in the team hotels, and all the expenses uh, uh,
Are borne
they
by the
are
players.
being borne by the players.
Okay,
But the
okay,
thing is, the
We,
problem where it happens, I will tell you. Well,
hmm.
where in a place like West Indies, where there are smaller flights, the
ah,
idea is you have to accommodate everyone in the same flight. So the chef also has to travel in that same flight. Getting tickets for them becomes a problem. Like, those are the problems. But as far as the chefs go, I know this for a fact that they do not stay in the team hotel. They stay outside. They bring the food, give the food, and go away. And they stay in Airbnbs. So that
okay,
is how it works.
yeah, Chandresh, you had a point.
I just wanted to say that it's not just it's all like Saurabh said, it's all lip service. Like I said, we've been hearing about it from a very long time. Domestic cricket, domestic cricket. We had an excellent opportunity at the start of the season when Dulip Trophy was being played. There was no international cricket. There was no A team cricket also. The what happened? One superstar player said, I will not play. The second superstar player said, I will not play. The third star player said, okay, I will also not play. The two others were already not playing, and one became ill right before that, after the team was selected. So it is all very well. You should have set the tone. What happens, no, because of the way we run our sport, it is very
Correct.
easy in India for a superstar to say, I will bypass you, I will directly call the higher up, who gets very excited when he sees the phone flashing with that superstar's phone number on it, and he says, अरे
Yes.
मेरे को फोन आया है, हाँ बताओ, हाँ नहीं मैं नहीं खेल सकता, अच्छा ठीक है नो प्रॉब्लम मैं मैनेज कर लूंगा. This
This
won't
is what
happen in
happens.
this won't happen in Australia. Steve Smith, Pat Cummins at the start of the season played Sheffield Shield. They didn't back out because there Pat Cummins is not calling the CEO of Cricket Australia and saying, listen, mate, I'm not going to play. He'll say, speak to the executive GM in charge of men's cricket. You
Hmm.
understand the difference? The star culture starts because of the way you run the sport, because there are two team Indias, one off the field. The one off the field is still stuck in 60s and 70s, but one on the field is expected to be in 2025. You can't
Correct,
marry
correct.
the two.
And that is a major concern. And Dwapa, and when we talk about players, things have really blown up commercially. It all started in the early late 90s, and now, after the IPL, it has become sensational. I mean, you need support staff. So earlier it was only teams needing support staffs. Now each and every individual is capable economically, financially, commercially to get their own support staff. The other problem here now comes around is the endorsements. Now, endorsements were looked at really very great. The 90s we saw Sachin, Kapil, everyone, and now it's growing. The endorsements are growing. How much can you regulate? How much can you control? Now, the other problem which has been mentioned by the BCCI is that no personal shoots during the tour. Now, this sounds good, but then there is a stakeholding by the guys who are sponsoring the individual player. Now, so many things to be accommodated. Is it practical? Now, what do you think about personal shoots during the tour? That is something which everyone, even a layman, will say कि नहीं यार जब तुम खेल रहे हो तो अच्छा. अभी इसमें भी दोपहर आई जस्ट ऐड कि जो टीम है उसने मुझे दिन भर का इतना शेड्यूल दे दिया है, बाकी तो टाइम मेरा है, मैं जो करना है जो करूं. That's also not the explanation. So how would you look at the personal shoot angle which this diktat also mentions?
Ideally, it should not happen. You do the shooting, etc. Whatever needs to be done, you do it before the tour, and then when you are going on tour, you
Okay,
you play, you do your rehab, and be in the bubble, as in that cricketing bubble, I mean to say.
right.
So, but ideally it should not happen because it is obviously a distraction. Having said that, these players, like the top players I am talking about, they are mature people. They know what is a distraction and what is not. They know that if the runs don't come or the wickets don't come, then their brand value will also go. So I do not think that they compromise on their training because of because of a shoot. They do.
Huh.
I do not think they do that because they are not that indisciplined. This lot is very sure about what they want. So because there is the money at stake is so much, and money and fame, everything is at stake, and it is
Exactly.
so much that they are not exactly immature people. But then if you want to make it as a policy that there is no ad shoots during the tour, I do not know if there was any ad shoot which during the Australia series which Gautam Gambhir didn't like uh, but then he came back in the middle of the series for 7 days from Perth. There were people in the management who did not even know that he had come back. So
Oh, ho, ho.
yeah, yes, he was not. He came back and then went back. So there are a lot of problems here. See, problems that have cropped up because the defeats have happened. Uh,
Correct.
because had you not lost that New Zealand series 3-0, none of these things would have happened. WTC final, India would have played, and everything would have been hunky dory. The problem is you have lost that series 3-0 to New Zealand, and now you have to, and incidentally lost to Australia also, which is par for the course, 3-1. And now you have to deal with all these things. So,
But
and
yeah,
as Chandresh was saying very interestingly, that 2018, because if you remember in 2018 when this thing started, at that point of time there was no BCCI. There was this
COA,
the body
Committee
that
of
was,
Administrators.
so the head of that body apparently used to say that whatever these players want, I will follow. I don't care, the players are the boss.
Nee,
So
but
that
Dwapan,
is
yeah,
how it came about. And
yes,
then
yes.
came then
Pankaj,
it came.
Pank-
Huh.
Pankaj, even if technically there was no BCCI, these things continued in the last 5 years when you had the
Huh?
Achhe Din in BCCI, and it was allowed to continue during the Achhe Din as well.
Huh?
Now, my point about the ad shoots is that obviously, if you look at these 10 pointers which have come out, these are obviously 8 of these things are framed with one person in mind or two people in mind without taking names, and it is very clear who they are aimed at because these things are done only by one person or two people. Now, one reason why India doesn't play tour games anymore is because your super seniors feel that if you play a 3-day game in England against a county side or England Lions, that is 3 days means 3 days of shoot that you can do in Mumbai at
Exactly.
Famous Studio
Events.
or Mehboob Studio. The problem is that the super seniors can get away by not playing the tour game because some of them play two formats or some of them play all three formats. But there are some like Abhimanyu Ishwaran and Sarfraz Khan who play only one format for India.
Hmm.
Now, even if you wanted to select Abhimanyu Ishwaran and Sarfraz Khan for the final test match, the poor guys had not played any cricket for close to 1.5 months. They were only in the nets. So they couldn't have technically replaced anybody in the 11. So they were out of contention.
Yes. Yes,
No,
Dwapan.
no, Chandresh, but you are getting it wrong here because there was the India A tour and Abhimanyu Ishwaran played those two.
That's what I'm
You
saying. I'm saying by the
Dhruv
time the
Jurel.
final test, no, but
No,
that's what I'm saying.
no. My
By the
point
time
about the practice games is, Chandresh, like
ah,
the practice games are maybe a week before the test series starts.
in
So
the middle
on
of the
those, uh, huh,
my point is
huh,
that between the first and second test match, you had about 10 days gap. What did
right?
what did we organize? A 2-day practice match to prepare for a day-night test match, which became a one-day match. That
And
should
they
have been
had
a 4 day.
and they had 4 days of practice session, proper practice
Nee, but
session.
practice
That doesn't
session
matter.
hoite
We're
keh raha hu
talking
na.
But
about
practice,
4 days. We're talking
but
about a four. They could have very well played a 4-day match. What I'm
no,
trying
but
to say is that you have knocked out two people from selection, Sarfraz Khan and Abhimanyu Ishwaran, because technically there is no play. They have not had any cricket for 1 month since the start of the Test series. So how, on what basis do we pick them for the final 11 in Sydney? So you have cancelled them out.
Yeah.
So you had 19 players on tour, three net bowlers, but only 13 or 14 were in contention for a place in the final 11. So what I'm trying to say is that these tours can be planned a lot better in terms of organizing a game here or there, even if the super seniors don't want to play. But it won't happen because the super seniors think that they may end up having to play those 3 days when that could be used somewhere more productively in
for
Mumbai.
a commercial. Yeah, Dwapan, quickly if you can.
No, but my point is that the in a practice match, in a practice match, if you get out early, then for 3 days you don't get to bat. You are there fielding.
No, Dwapan, you can
And
actually
no,
come
no, no.
back.
Listen to
You
me.
can
Listen
come
to me.
back.
More often
Yeah,
than
okay.
not, these opposition teams, opposition countries give flat wickets so that you do not get the best practice. The bowling is bad. The grueling net sessions where you are carrying your own bowlers and playing your own bowlers is far better than playing very
नहीं.
mediocre.
So
Yes, it
I'll
is. It
okay,
is.
okay,
It
okay.
is.
Dwapan, sorry.
That is how
So,
it in Indian cricket has been going for the last 6
okay,
years. It has succeeded. It's just that
okay,
it hasn't succeeded here.
okay. Just a point. They technically they haven't succeeded because they haven't won a Test series in England, South Africa, and New Zealand in the last 6 years. Only place they have won is Australia, outside in the Sena countries.
They have
Sorry,
drawn a
Saurabh,
series.
I hope you're not feeling. I hope you're not getting
They
left
have
out in
drawn a
this.
test series in South Africa.
No. Don't worry,
England
Chandresh
was
Dwapan.
2-2.
We are not going to let you talk in the
No,
next
no.
10
What
minutes.
I'm trying to say,
Me and
what I'm
Saurabh
trying
will
to
I'm
say.
going to take out a 10-page policy statement aimed at you two
Yes.
after this.
No. What I'm trying to say is that if you're not happy with the opposition being provided by a home board, you have enough money. You had enough money. You had the India A squad in Australia. You could have played a proper first class match, India versus India. Who's stopping you? Why do you want to play a Mickey Mouse center wicket training session when you can have a proper first class match between your two sides? You've
No, but
had
Chandesh, why
Challenger
are you
Trophy in
saying
the
it is a
past.
Mickey Mouse training session? Why
It is a Mickey
you
Mouse
have,
training
No,
session.
it
You
is.
should have
It's
a
not a
proper,
Mickey Mouse
proper,
training
proper
session.
first
It's not
class
a
match.
Mickey
I
Mouse
also
training
agree.
session.
See, net
It
session
is not a
cannot
Mickey Mouse
simulate.
training
No,
session. It is never a.
Dwapan, let me a net session cannot in any way beat India, beat anyway, cannot replace an actual match scenario. Beat with a
Not
Mickey Mouse
necessarily.
team. No, it
Those are
can.
archaic
No. A match
ideas.
scenario is a
Those
match
ideas
scenario.
are gone.
नहीं अरे ऐसी बात नहीं है ये ऐसा नहीं होता है वीडियो गेम नहीं है ना ये वीडियो गेम है तो सौरभ अभी इसके बाद
No, I'll tell you one point
सौरभ
that is in favor of what Dwaipayan said. See, this started 6 years ago, right? Like 2018, India's tour of South Africa was where I think this started, and I was on that tour, and I remember that there was a
on that
practice
tour,
match cancelled.
because why? Please tell why.
They were unhappy with the
No, they were all here in Mumbai attending a function.
Yes.
They were all here in Mumbai attending a function. You know
Yes,
the function.
yes.
You don't want to say it. Saurabh, chupa mat.
Acha,
You know the reason. The main function happened outside India, then a supplementary function happened here in Mumbai.
I know what you're talking about.
That's the reason.
What I'm saying is,
Yeah.
Abhi, in spite of that, there was actually a practice game scheduled, a 2-day practice match. In the first test was in Cape Town. There was a 2-day practice match scheduled. They cancelled that actually in favor of net session. And at that time, it is based on that net session, although there was a strong push before also, but that net session was the clincher in deciding that one Mr. Jasprit Bumrah will make his debut in Cape Town. He will be amongst India's 3 bowlers. It was supposed to be him, Ishant and Shami. Ishant was injured, so Bhuvneshwar played. Bhuvneshwar ended up taking up a lot of wickets. But Bumrah, what I heard that time from people in the team was that in that net session, they were so impressed by him that they were like, isko khelne ka hi hai. Like, there is no way that this guy won't play. Like, seniority wise, it would have been Bhuvi. Umesh was also on that tour. Bhuvi, Ishan, Shami would have been ahead, right? But they. So sometimes net sessions can yield a Bumrah to Test cricket. So it is not always.
But you are missing again, Saurabh. You are not telling the audience the truth. Why did they cancel the practice match? Why did they cancel? Saurabh, you were on that tour. You must tell us why they cancelled the tour.
मैं टूर पे था, मैं बॉम्बे में नहीं था, मैं बैंगलोर से गया.
पर आपको पता है, खुलासा कीजिए.
Saurabh, what you're saying is that देखो नेट सेशन में पता चलता है कि चंद्रेश, द्वापायन, पंकज और सौरभ कैसी बॉलिंग कर रहे हैं. There is no worry on that. And that is the name of the game for a net session. But when you play a 3-day game, when you play a tour game, you come.
No, sure. See, I'm not saying that there is no value in playing a game.
What I'm trying to
There
say
is
is that you basically get your muscle memory to understand कि भाई कितना दूर भागना है. In this test series, we had twice when Australia ran 4 runs because the Indian fielder was going. Nothing wrong in that. But it is not about the pitches. It is
that
not
they
about
ran
the
because
bowlers.
of a combination of big outfield and
tour game is about getting with the whole topography as a player. You know, even you are
तो फिर तो हर ग्राउंड में टूर गेम रखो, वो तो पॉसिबल नहीं है ना विद मॉडर्न
तो
स्केड्यूल.
यही तो क्यों नहीं पॉसिबल है, यही तो बात चल रही है.
पॉसिबल
No,
नहीं है.
no, that we have to be a bit realistic. That you can't have
I'm not saying
in a
I'm not
5
saying-
test series you can't have 5 tour games.
No.
And in
हमने
England,
कहा
there
I
have
agree,
been
I agree.
three tour games have been scheduled. You will
But that
see
is
the
India
India
versus
A
England
players
Lions.
will play.
No, India A versus England Lions. What I'm trying to say is that during 5 test series in England and Australia, you have at least 2 big gaps.
Yeah.
That gap can be used. The super seniors don't have to play. What I'm trying to say is that the fringe players, 1.5 months, Sarfaraz Khan, Devdutt Padikkal, Dhruv Jurel, what's his name, Abhimanyu Ishwaran, they're all traveling with the team aimless and with directionless. I'm just saying, if you have a game for them, if they play, they could also come into contention for a place in the playing 11.
As Saurabh mentioned,
Rightly or wrongly.
impress कर गया, तो फिर बात ही see क्या हो रहा है कि we are not basically very efficiently.
Also, one thing I want to mention is that actually Pat Cummins did not play the Shield game, right? He went to see Coldplay. Wasn't there a lot
No,
of...
he played that was during the one-day series against Pakistan.
देखिए क्या होता है कि वो Coldplay को
But
जाए,
वो थोड़ा सा मतलब वो there was a gap before the test series. In that gap, instead of training, he went for Coldplay.
No, but
which I have no problem with.
No,
personally.
I think what is happening is in the garb of training, in the garb of net sessions, a lot of things are done. That is the basic problem.
No, in the garb of training sessions, nothing is done. You don't know. That's why you
what do you mean I don't know?
No. The training sessions are extremely serious. No, because training sessions are the sessions where teams are made. No. Because training sessions are the ones we cover on a daily basis. We know how grueling the training sessions are.
I do understand.
Training sessions are not उसके गार्ब में कुछ नहीं होता है.
नहीं अरे हो तो रहा है.
They're all in training sessions.
Anyway, that is the fun of Beyond the Boundary, because we have so many things beyond the boundary to talk about, and that is the whole thing. But the diktats, the discussion can go on and on, gentlemen. In the final round of Saurabh.
No, so in the diktats, the baggage thing, what I want to say is there is one thing that they should put in place. वो थोड़ा mental baggage हटाने का है और सब थोड़ा सा allow कर दो, you know, like this sort of, I think I'm more in favor of a more, you know, treating players like they are adults, like they have become top level athletes by, you know, having something. Obviously you can't, you know, just reach the top in Indian cricket,
and that's why
where you have to climb over.
You carry 15 bags.
नहीं वो 15 बैग्स कैरी कर रहा हो तो वो क्लियर है कि मतलब टीम का बीसीसीआई देगी, 12 का प्लेयर देगा.
क्या फर्क पड़ता है?
तो
वो खुद अगर पैसा दे तो ठीक है. I'm saying this sort of mental baggage, you know, that a taskmasterly approach is the best solution to any defeat. I personally am not very comfortable with it.
So just to clarify, Cummins played the one-day cup for New South Wales. But Stark, Hazelwood, Steve Smith, they all played Sheffield Shield. So Cummins played domestic cricket at the start of the season, but it was in the one-day format. But what I'm trying to say is that it made a difference. So, as in like, ultimately,
Cummins, the only test he was undercooked was Perth. So that is why, because of the big gap between Perth and Adelaide, there was a lot of criticism about Cummins.
यही तो हो रहा है. हमारा क्या हो रहा है? एक प्लेयर जा रहा है तो दूसरा आ रहा है. That is the name of the game, right? You know, if Chandresh is not bowling well and Dwaipan comes in and, you know, we do some, that's the whole game.
I'll give you an example. 2012, when England won a test series here in India, between the test in Mumbai and the one in Kolkata, there was a England Lions game which the BCCI was not aware of. which was happening at DY Patil Stadium, and injured Steve Finn played that tour game
and got back.
and came back, and he hammered. He was partly reason why
Also,
they did well in Kolkata as
Also,
well.
do you
What I'm
remember what happened in their warm-up match? That was in Chennai, and no, that's not in Chennai. The
It
squad
was
was
in
picked in
Gujarat only.
Chennai. Yes,
Uh,
yes, yes, the squad was picked in Chennai.
and they didn't pick a
मैं वहाँ पे
spinner.
they didn't pick a single spinner.
Huh.
They wanted to give
That will
England
hurt.
no practice about spin.
Uh,
So that also
they
happens
forgot. They
in
forgot
a
that
tour
will.
match.
So what I'm trying to say is that somewhere, at
Hmm.
some level, all the boards will have to come together and say for tours, especially India, England, Australia, is that we need to give some kind of a proper tour game for our sides. Otherwise, what will happen is that each one will go to other country and get hammered. That's my humble
Correct.
submission.
And Dwapa, and on this note, let's start with the last round of this bout, because Chandresh and Saurabh will not give chance to you and me to speak. They just take the mic away, and I'm the anchor here. matlab. But anyways, just on a lighter note, Dwapa, I mean, let's quickly talk about the Champions Trophy announcement. Probably I've got some news. You have got some more news. Is it going to happen tomorrow or something? What's the whole story that's going on around the squad announcement?
Yes, the mail has come. So the the this announcement will be tomorrow. There is uh, no two ways about it, because the mail
Okay.
is there which says that there is a press conference, and the announcement will be tomorrow. The interesting thing
And
is, like, tell
are you
me.
expecting any surprise?
Mm, Major surprise? No, not really. No, I'm
Okay.
very keen to see that there are the points is whether Jasprit Bumrah makes it or not, and the
Right.
other is I want to see the KL Rahul situation, because
Okay.
apparently KL Rahul is not very keen to keep, and so in that
Mm-hmm.
case, if he doesn't keep, uh, how does he fit in? Or be the second wicket keeper, Rishabh Pant comes back. There are a few moving parts to this story. Let's see how it goes. But I do not see some major, massive
Okay.
changes, because the crux of the team we know. Yashasvi Jaiswal will be there, I'm guessing. I hope we will be there.
Interesting, interesting. Saurabh, now in this case, are you expecting anything? Because what is happening, as Dwapan mentioned, do you see maybe Sanju Samson coming in? Rishabh Pant is there. I mean, again,
No, I mean,
what about the Saurabh Jasprit Bumrah? Do we take him in reserves or do we announce him in the main squad? I mean, because there are ICC rules for replacement, right?
मेरे हिसाब से तो let him take rest.
Hmm.
You know, see, realistically, it is not as if he's going to be able to just skip IPL just to take rest. If he's injured, it's a different matter.
Hmm.
So let him take rest now. Hopefully, he will have a workload managed IPL and then be fully fit for the England tour. Uh,
Oh,
as for
oh.
surprises, I don't think anything is I don't see any surprises. Like there'll be talking points. For example, which two out of Rahul, Pant, and Samson will they pick? Whoever they
Hmm.
pick will be the talking point. Whoever they leave out, but whichever combination they pick amongst these three, none of it is a surprise. Like you can make a case
Okay.
for each one to be picked. You can
Yeah.
make a case for the guy who's dropped also that he should not have been dropped. But that is what
Correct.
happens when you have like a lot of talent competing for limited amount of spots. So surprise wise, I don't think there will be like a hatke off the cuff selection suddenly. They will be from the amongst the expected names. The only thing is to see which of them make it, which of them don't, and we'll probably get some information. That is like if for example Bumrah is named in the squad, then we know that
Huh.
maybe his injury is actually well on the path to recovery. If he's not named, then we know that okay, it requires more time. We don't know how serious it is. So stuff like that.
Right. Very, very, and then that is something very interesting, sir, that you have mentioned. Because on that note, Chandresh, अगर बुमराह को नहीं लिया गया because of medical reasons, I mean that will be a big, big blow, don't you think?
No, but it will be a blow. But you have to sort of, like Saurabh said, you have to weigh your options. England का tour है, 5 test matches from June to
Right.
August. You need him fit for that, and he may be keen, but do you really need to push him for 3 games? Technically speaking, you're pushing him for 3 games. So do you really need to push him for 3 games? As I see it, one thing is right, like Saurabh said, we'll get official information on record from the
Yeah.
BCCI, from Ajit Agarkar, the chairman of selectors, on because we didn't know anything about Mohammad Shami except the reports that were coming out in media. And then it required the captain Rohit Sharma to say, "How much will I talk about Mohammad Shami? Let the official word come out from BCCI." And 3 days later, they put out a press release. Tomorrow, we'll come to know from the chairman of selectors what is the status of Rohit Sharma. Say we can check with Rohit Sharma. What is your status? What are you going to do? You've already said I'm not going anywhere. What is going to happen? And technically speaking, if you see very logically speaking, if you look at India's ODI World Cup squad, I can see only 4 changes from that. One is
Hmm.
Ravichandran Ashwin because he's no longer an international cricketer. Surya Kumar Yadav is no longer in running for a one-day place. Shardul Thakur again is forgotten by everybody because we have moved past him, so to speak. Ishan Kishan again,
Yeah.
nobody's talking about it. So these are the 4 players who will go out. Now we have to now we're looking at 4 replacements, of which Rishabh Pant or Sanju Samson is going to be a sure shot. And then you have to look at whether you're going for a Washington Sundar as a like for like replacement for Ravichandran Ashwin. And then you've got, if you have to decide whether you, instead of Surya Kumar Yadav, do you go for a Tilak Verma or a Karun Nair, for all you know,
Yeah.
as a
So,
wild card option.
yes. On that note, the Dwapan, do you think Chandresh plays a lot of fantasy cricket because he's giving exactly all the numbers that are needed to make a team?
No, no, yeah, but he's right. He's right, and this Karuna thing
I'm
is
so pleased.
interesting because
Dwaipan is
when
agreeing with me.
no, Karuna thing is interesting because like when you are talking so much about this domestic cricket,
Yeah.
domestic cricket, and this
Correct.
and Karuna has a recent domestic cricket average of around 1,000, and uh, and then you do not pick him in the squad, and then you
Exactly.
immediately put out the pointer that how important domestic cricket is for you. So if you do not pick him, you tell the world what domestic cricket actually means. The A
Absolutely.
and another thing I will tell you, Pankaj, that in 2013 that Champions Trophy was extremely important for India because was a image cleansing exercise for India. And
Correct.
this year also there is a lot at stake in this Champions Trophy. If India doesn't win this Champions Trophy, all these diktat and the man who has made all these diktats, we will see whether he stays there
क्या
beyond
बात है,
Champions Trophy.
क्या बात है, बहुत बड़ी बात
but
कही
but
थी.
but I think Dwaipan has made a very good point. 2013 Champions Trophy ke pehle, you had a lot of tamasha. 2017, little did we know that before the Champions Trophy itself, tamasha started, and the
I
tamasha
was thinking
peaked
the
during the
same thing.
Champions Trophy. 2025 again tamasha has happened. I hope 2013 wala coincidence ho, na
होना
ki
चाहिए.
2017 ho,
So
na ki
sort of law of
2017
averages
wala.
will catch up.
2013 wala matlab Chandresh wants Rohit Sharma to sit in the press conference and smile and not answer questions.
And do like this. But there is a big difference.
Yes,
2013, India won the Champions Trophy because there was one
correct.
person who was working at the ICC and who was there at all the India games.
That was Chandresh for viewers who might be
Yes,
wondering.
yes. So on that note, this has been another very wonderful show with all my friends, my partners in crime. The most important aspect, friends, is that we sincerely hope that Jasprit Bumrah, gears up, heals very, very quickly, and we really take care of him because he is a diamond that we cannot miss out. And a request to everyone: normal economy class passengers on a domestic flight can carry 15 kgs in the cargo, and if ahead of that you have to pay. Generally, the news that we have got from Saurabh, Dwapan, and Chandresh is that the players are paying for anything which is 15 kg and above, so we need not worry on that. And on that note, a lot of interesting discussions have happened today on the policy decisions and, of course, the upcoming Champions Trophy squad announcement. We will be back once we know that the announcement is done. We will have another special show on that on Beyond the Boundary Times of India Sports channel. Saurabh, Chandresh, and Dwapan, thank you very much for your time. It was another wonderful exercise. Next time, let's try and travel with lesser baggage mentally and physically too. Thank you very much. Take care, everybody. And this is Pankaj Achavle signing off.